Hello everybody, and welcome to another flight simulator video. And today we are in the lovely and beautiful fly-by-wire A380. Now this is the first time flying it completely actually, and also on video recording, because I've had problems with frame rates, I've had problems trying to choose flights for this. Today was a perfect example. What happened last week as I'm recording, as this is uploaded, event last week happened where Heathrow Airport was completely shut down. So that's what brings us to Gatwick. We are currently at Gatwick. The pilots are coming onto the flight, and we have no passengers because this flight would have been deboarded here. And as you know, on Friday the 21st of March, on Thursday, in fact, the 20th of March, there was a massive fire at a substation near Heathrow, which knocked out the power. This was around about 11 PM. By 1 AM, the airport declared that the Heathrow Airport declared Heathrow would be shut for the entire day, up till midnight of Friday the 21st. However, there was attempts to bring flights in, such as this one. We are flying on British Airways. Flight number is 35 Juliet Golf, and it flew from here in Gatwick to Heathrow as a positioning flight, and it left Gatwick at around 17:44, and we've got these conditions now, the lovely beautiful evening conditions of Flight Simulator 2020. So I've set for boarding, and hang on, I need to get the cargo doors open for the cargo handlers. So while that's going on, I'm pretty sure this flight actually originated from Singapore, was due to Heathrow Airport in the morning of Friday the 21st, and was luckily diverted, because I think there was only 2, 3, possibly up to 5 flights only that were diverted to Gatwick. And that's lucky, because by diverting to Gatwick, British Airways could easily have put people on trains into central London, organised buses and taxis to get them to wherever they need to be. Now, other lucky passengers, I'd say, there was a handful of British Airways flights that landed all across the UK, Manchester being one of them, Newcastle being another one, and also Glasgow in the United Kingdom. And there was one Virgin flight that landed in Cardiff, I believe, and there was a handful of Virgin flights that landed in both Manchester and Glasgow as well. Now again, people flying into those places were on the lucky side compared to others who ended up being stranded in other places abroad, or have their flight completely turned back to the origin. Now, like I say, with British Airways, what is the advantage of, let's say, if you're diverting a flight to Manchester or Newcastle? Now, the way that British Airways route network is set up, it's set up in a way that they connect you on at Heathrow. So more often or not, there will be passengers on those flights that will actually be connecting to those airports. And in those cases, and if I was in that situation, I would be asking the airline, can you just leave me here and then move along? Now, the other big issue with what happened on Thursday night and into Friday was that you couldn't claim back off the airline. You could claim some expenses off the airline, for example, travel, hotel, and food, but you couldn't actually you couldn't actually claim off the flight under the, I forgot what you call the ruling, but there's a code for the flights that are cancelled, and you can be refunded for that. But you couldn't do it under that system, because this was what they call outside of the airline's control. If you have travel insurance, which to be honest with you, I would always recommend. I have travel insurance, luckily, from my bank. My bank offers a reward system that includes travel insurance worldwide, and it includes my household, which is basically my wife and my daughter, and any other children that will come after that. So that can cover us all over the world for such events as these. Looks like GSX has completed the boarding process, so I'm going to just set up for the pushback now. So the most important part about what I'm doing today on this video is not to do with the flight. It's not to do with the aircraft itself. That I will probably try to do on another video at some other point, which is why everything has been set up. Compared to like when other times I record, I'm more than often or not doing I'm doing the whole setup. So this is more about the event that happened, and I'm just conducting this flight as it was. I believe this was actually the first aircraft to land in. Now it's not this exact aircraft. The aircraft that we're currently flying in on this particular flight is not the same registration as the aircraft that was conducted the first flight. Anyway, we're going to start the engines and then I'll get to it. Unlike the Airbus A320, on the A350 the ignition switches are on the overhead panel. So we'll do a 2-engine start first. It will be engine 4 and engine number 3. I believe this is something that you can do here on the A380, is simultaneous starting of 2 engines. I know the 747-400 can actually start all 4 engines at once. So both engine number 3 and 4 have started successfully. Why hasn't it's okay, we'll figure it out in a minute. And we'll go engine 1 and 2. The pushback is just about completing as well. Oh, I pressed the wrong... Oops. There we go, that's better. We're just starting engine number 1 and number 2 now. Let's set our parking brake as well. And we'll confirm a good engine start. So we are in tail number Lima Echo Foxtrot, the actual aircraft that operated this flight, and you'll find it on flight radar, especially if you've got the silver or the gold, is X-Ray Lima Echo Juliet. Now I couldn't find that exact, well I could actually find that exact registration repaint for the fly-by-wire. However, it was in a pack and I couldn't get the pack to function properly, so it wouldn't download properly, so this is the best I can do for now anyway. So we'll put the FD on, that's why that's not up there. Now the speed, there we go. Right, so we do the normal Airbus things. So first will be flight controls check, and we're gonna, I don't know if you can actually see the ailerons very well from this position. It's not the best. Ah, there you go. Full right, okay. Full left, up and down. Let's go back into the cockpit to see the rest of it. So this is the flight controls. So full left, full right, full up, full down, rudder left, rudder right. There you go. It's got two sets of rudders, as you can see there, with the two green lights, and you'll see they move at slightly different speeds as well. Okie dokie. So, why am I going down there? I need to go to the overhead panel. We'll set that to normal. APU bleed can come off now. APU can come off as well. We don't need seatbelt signs really, because we are flying with 0 passengers, because this is just really a ferry flight. And then we do flaps to number 1. That is genuinely one of my favourite sounds from Airbus A350 and A380, and I was lucky to hear that. Not very loud though. I think the newer aircraft perhaps have them not very loud. So let's get rid of flight controls. We'll leave the tyres up. So we need to arm the ground spoilers. Arm the ground spoilers, and I believe that will actually set our trim. No, I don't think it does. Does the trim get set by itself? I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, we're going to move the trim wheel then into the range that we need. There you go, it's gone green now. RTO, and then we need to test takeoff config, which is down here. Takeoff config test, come on. Flight control trim disagreement. Okay, let me... Again, this is all new to me, so give me uno momento. 36.2. If I go up to 36.2, there you go, 36.2. Takeoff config. No blue. Lovely. So let's get our taxi lights on, and it's a pretty simple taxi down to the runway 08 right. Don't know why the master caution light is still on. Let's cancel that. Now, as I said before, this is pretty much my first time actually operating this aircraft as it is. We don't have maps on here because I don't have a Navigraph subscription, but that's okay. There's a fuel truck there, but I feel like we're gonna wipe it out. So this aircraft actually took off, was parked over here. I don't know if it was parked over here initially when it arrived from Singapore, or if it was moved during the day just to make room so that it's not blocking the main parking areas at the main terminal. Now I wonder if... No, the taxi light doesn't work, but that's okay. We'll just slow down because we're going up to 20 knots. We want to do about a 10 knot turn. Oh, we've stopped completely somehow. There you go. The aircraft moves nicely with this really low weight. I'm going to turn to the right on Juliet. There we go. Nice turn. It's not a super long aircraft compared to other larger aircraft, but easy to handle. It's actually a very nice view out of this cockpit, and I think Airbus has done a good job with updating the systems over the A320, A330 and A340 aircraft compared to well, and also this is kind of like an interim generation to the A350, because I believe they did a few more upgrades to the avionics system over the this A380. What I like about being a passenger on the A380, it is super quiet, even on the main deck near the engines. It's very, very quiet. If you've been on the top deck as well, I was lucky enough to do that one time, and actually it was an arrival here into Gatwick on Emirates. Now I don't know if they still do it, but back in 2018 they were doing flights into Gatwick on a 2-class configured A380, which I paid the extra to sit upstairs because it was me and my brother, it was just the two of us, and by sitting upstairs we had 2 seats for ourselves next to the window, and also an extra compartment for storage, which is fantastic. And where those seats are is where the first class compartments would be on a 3-class configured A380. And talking to the flight attendants on that particular flight, it's a very rare configuration, but on that particular flight we were on, it was being operated every day. So just approaching the runway now. Our TCAS is standby. Now I need to check how to actually get it on, because I was having a look. There's an ident button, transmitting ident, but it doesn't turn it on. Okay, we're moving, aren't we? Let's just stop the aircraft. Okay, so I don't really know how to get that on. Anyway, so what we normally do then, we'll put the landing lights on, wing lights can come, actually we don't need wing lights, turn the strobes on, takeoff light is on, and we don't really need to do seatbelt checks or anything like that, because we are flying 0 passengers today. So we're going to line up with the runway. Now you might be thinking, I thought Gatwick was a single runwayed airport. Well, it is. It is and it isn't, you know. So we're going off on runway 08 right, and there's 08 left to our left side just now. However, it's not ever in use because the distance between the 2 runways is not enough for any kind of safe clearances, especially for takeoffs and landings. What we're going to do, we're going to do rolling takeoff straight into the flex, which is flex 66. Now I've got no traffic running today, just so I've got hopefully a good attempt to try to get the aircraft, or this video, recorded without too many hiccups. So we're estimating our flight time to be around 20 minutes. So a nice short flight, especially for the 380. Okay, we'll center line, advance the throttles to 50%. Chronos are coming on. Where's the flex? Why is it not going into flex? Not going into flex, so we're going toga takeoff instead. And we're already at V1. And we're rotating. Nice, nice, nice. Nice climb out. Positive climb, gears coming up. Seems to handle nicely so far. Pitched quite high, of course, because we are super light, and to try to maintain that speed. TCAS is on standby, I am aware, but I don't really know how to engage it, so... Where's climb thrust? Why is it not going into the climb thrust D10? Well, it's in the climb thrust D10. There we go. And the speed is increasing nicely. We're up to 3,000 already. We'll climb up to 6. And we'll bring the flaps up as well. Still got the warning about the TCAS, but again, I'm not really too sure how to do the TCAS, but for now, that is not important. Anyway, I'm recording this video on Thursday, the 27th of March, and what actually happened last week, almost exactly a week ago today, there was a fire at a substation near Heathrow in the area of Hayes, which is actually very, very close to Heathrow. This fire knocked out the power. However, the power wasn't restored in Heathrow until sometime in the afternoon on Friday the 21st. And as it comes to light, it turns out that the CEO of Heathrow Airport decided not to deal with the situation at the time, at 11 PM on Thursday the 20th of March. Shame on him, honestly, shame on him. He really should have got down to business and tried to figure out what to do, instead of allowing time, I think it was his vice, whoever his next in command was, to deal with the situation and make an announcement at 1 AM saying that no flights will operate on Friday the 21st. It's a very sad situation, but that's what we know so far. Now, questions have been obviously put out there about various things, such as, especially in the UK, energy security has been a big question. Could this be potentially related to energy security? Perhaps, but we don't know. Until further investigation comes through, I don't think we'll actually know much more about it. And it's a shame because so many passengers are affected by it. Now, I've flown in and out of Heathrow many times over the years. And it doesn't take a genius to work out that it's a very, very busy airport, and when problems happen, it's a major problem. And problems, when they are about, need to be sorted as soon as possible. It doesn't take a genius to work that out. So it's a shame that that happened, and honestly, I feel sorry for those who got caught up in it. For someone like myself, getting caught up in delays, cancellations doesn't bother me too much. But obviously there are other people where time is important, because they've got interviews, they've got meetings, and unfortunately those people were massively disrupted on this day, which is such a shame. It's one of the reasons why I'm operating this flight on the 380, because this flight with the 380 was the first aircraft to land back in Heathrow, and this was in the evening. I'll actually pop up the flight radar info on my phone, and it departed from Gatwick at 17:44. In fact, we pretty much chosen the time almost bang on, as you can see by my clock, just to the right of this display here and to the right of the landing gear lever. So we've pretty much gone bang on the money for the time, and it arrived at Heathrow at 17:24. It's an 18-minute flight on Lima Echo Juliet. We're on Lima Echo Foxtrot, so we're not the same aircraft. We're now cruising at 6,000 feet with the city skyline of London just appearing there on our right side. You can see the River Thames, and if you were a passenger on the right side, you'd be able to see the River Thames. But nobody was on this flight, because I bet everybody was deplaned when it first arrived in the morning, and then everybody probably made their own way to London or to wherever they were going in the UK. But honestly, it's such a shame that this happened, and it happened at Heathrow, and it kind of, you know, it's a bit of an awakening, I think, for everybody. We're just going to use our vertical speed to bring ourselves down to 3,000 feet. Nice steady descent. So yeah, that was the situation that happened last week, and from what I've heard, if you go onto the On Air with Dan and Alex, one of the co-hosts of that, he's a journalist actually for Simple Flying, I believe, or is he a freelance? I'm not too sure, but he's a journalist, aviation journalist, and he ended up flying, in fact, on Saturday, the 22nd of March, and he said going out of Heathrow, it just felt as if it was normal. Of course, operationally, it's not, because they're probably still, some airlines are probably still recovering now, even though we're a week on. especially financially and potentially operationally, because it helps when planes are in the right places at the right time, isn't it? Especially for maintenance purposes. But yeah, it's amazing how quickly it recovered. It's just a shame that the event happened, and now airlines are suing the airport for what's happened, which, to be honest with you, I am not surprised really. Let's confirm our approach path now. So it's going to start managing speed. We'll do VS mode as well. Just get the aircraft down. And we're going to be flying downwind in just a moment as well. Got some clouds. Now I've set the weather for few clouds, but I've set the winds in a way that it's beneficial to us for the purposes of reconstructing the flight. Now I'm going to call GSX for our arrival, and we'll park in the gate in which this parked in, which is 557 in Terminal 5. I can see Heathrow Airport there on the right side already. Getting that speed down as well. Oh. 557 521 557. There we go. And will be handled by British Airways, because that is British Airways' main hub, as you all know. Let's put the ILS indicator on as well, so we can prepare for our approach. You can see Heathrow Airport just here on our right side. And I'm going to deploy the speed brakes to get the speed down as well, because we're flying above 200 knots, which is a bit fast. There you go. You can get that speed brake out. And we're going to bring our altitude down to 2,500. That's where we'll capture the ILS. Let's just go into I don't know what the flap 1 speed is. It's probably around 200 knots, isn't it? So let's get flaps 1 out then. That's my favourite Airbus noise these days. It used to be the PTU on the A320s, but that is so much more satisfying in my opinion. So we are flying now in the downwind direction. There's the airport. Terminal 5 is just where my mouse cursor is. And we're at a good altitude to intercept the ILS. Now I am flying probably a little bit lower than should be, but look how beautiful it is outside the windscreen right now. Going into the sunset.
2,500.
I can probably bring our aircraft up a bit, I think, just up to 3. Oh no, the VS is still going down. We'll just climb it up to 3. And then once we turn base, we will capture the ILS once we turn base. No aircraft in front of us, no aircraft behind us. There's no need to hold any particular speeds, and naturally the air traffic controllers in London will control speed from aircraft to try to maintain spacing, which is a very good practice, because the airport is so busy. If you ever get a chance to look at the runway or towards the runway of the approaching aircraft, you'll see how many planes are sort of stacked on top of each other. Of course, not literally on top of each other, but you know, they're stacked in a way that they are very, you know, you can see the queue of planes coming in. It's a more open view, but it seems a bit low in my opinion. That looks like the Brooklands Museum and the Brooklands, formerly Brooklands Airfield in Surrey. So yeah, I'm gonna use this view. I think I quite like this view with the window. And we're at a good altitude to turn base and to intercept the ILS on the way around as well. As you can see by the magenta diamond that's just above our yellow line there. So I'll use base as a way to fully prepare for our arrival and bring the speed down to our approach speed. We've been in the air for 12 minutes, so we should be on the ground in approximately 5, especially based on our current position. Going to start a right turn in just a moment. Once we start that right turn, I'll go flaps to 2. There's our right turn now. Flaps coming down to 2. Can imagine like what this would be like on a normal day, flying into Heathrow. Very, very busy airspace. You'll see other aircraft around as well. Now, in my opinion, the 09 approaches are not as nice as the approaches into 27. The approaches into 27 are fantastic. Brilliant views over London. In fact, I've got some pictures from a cafe flight I did just 2 years ago on an A350 with the beautiful A350 wing over the city of London. You can see Windsor Castle there. That's where my cursor is now. It's Windsor Castle. See runway 09 right, but we're landing on 09 left. I'm just going to keep jumping back to the view of the wing when we do the flaps. Let's do flaps 3. And we're turning for the localizer now. In fact, we'll arm the approach mode. We'll set the auto brakes to low. We don't really need a high one. Arm the spoilers as well. What I might do is a full automatic landing so you can actually see the wing view. And we just need to go gear down as we intercept the glide slope. I'm expecting now the localizer to come alive as well, just now. I think the glide slope looks like it's going to come alive before the localizer. Oh, there you go, I can see the localizer's alive there as well. Gears coming down now. And flaps going to full. And if I set autopilot 1 and 2 on, it's actually going to do a full automatic landing. All I have to do is set the throttles into idle for the flare.
Auto brake off.
Auto brakes off. Reverse is out. Flaps coming up. the oil is coming in. And we'll taxi off here. Oh yeah, I forgot to disconnect the autopilot. Oh, that's a majestic noise, that is. Genuinely. Here's the old Terminal 2. Or Terminal 1, I believe. Anyway, welcome to Heathrow. As I said, this was not really a flight to showcase the aircraft, but just to show you this particular ferry flight. And I hope you enjoyed that approach and landing using the passenger view there. So we're just going to taxi over to the parking area. Now, naturally, when you arrive into Heathrow or depart from Heathrow, the controller will tell you to follow the green lights. So that for landing, for example, they'll give you your parking position and follow the green lights. So you'll be illuminated on the way there. It's a very, very nice way of taxiing the aircraft, really. It makes things a lot easier for the pilots so that they don't have to fumble around with, with trying to find the taxiways, because it is a little bit complicated. We'll get the APU started as well, so we can prepare for our arrival on the gate. So hopefully I'm going to show another video shortly with this aircraft, the A380, on a full flight with passengers. Perhaps on a shorter leg, I'm looking into some of the Middle Eastern carriers such as Emirates and Qatar. Emirates have one of the shortest A380 flights, actually, from their base in Dubai to Riyadh, and it's only about 1 hour 15 minutes. So I've got to look at flights like that, yeah, in order to properly showcase this aircraft. And as I said, we are on stand 557, which will be on this remote, I forgot what they call these satellite stands here at Heathrow on Terminal 5. But yeah, one of the satellite stands, which is where most of the long-haul flights will go from. Well, in fact, pretty much all the long-haul flights on the wide-body aircraft. I think some of the textures are missing here from... I don't know if that was the gate that we're supposed to be on. Because I can't see a marshaller, and it looks like a lot of the gates are sort of missing. Hang on a minute. I think that was the gate that we were supposed to be on. We'll just turn onto this gate then next to it, which is 556. So we'll change the parking facility with GSX. Change facility. Gates. Oh, I have to do this whole page thing again, don't I? There we go, I can see baggage trucks. I can see the marshaller now. If I had the camera view, I could easily set this up a lot nicer. You know, they actually got cameras on the 380. Oh my gosh. Can't get this right on this aircraft, but it's okay. Oops. I can't see the marshaller now. Oh, he's shaking his hands. Okay, I think that's enough. Cut engines, let's set parking brake. And then we'll get the engines out now as well. There we go. Let's get the APU bleed running as well. Continue the deboarding requested. Beacon light can come off now. And finally, seatbelt signs can come off as well. And then we'll jump onto the exterior view. And we're a bit skew with again. Alrighty, so there we go. There's the British Airways 380. In fact, in the same sort of flight that operated the first flight back into Heathrow after the closure on Friday the 21st of March. Now, what I said is what I said, and I'm not going to change it. So it's a shame about the CEO. Instead of trying to sort out his airport, he decided to forget about it after this work event that he had and went home, instead of dealing with the situation on the ground, which is a shame. But the airlines responded well and recovered on the next day. And that was my opportunity to sort of show you the 380 as well, as it was a very brief flight that was operated. Anyway, that was the British Airways A380 from Fly-by-Wire, and my opinions about the shutdown at Heathrow. And I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope that I can feature this A380 aircraft again. It is very frame rate heavy and very VRAM heavy, so it's a difficult one to do recordings on. But thank you for bearing with me today, and I hope you have a good one, and I hope to see you on another video with some more positive news, I hope, and with something that's better than this one. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on another one. Bye bye.